Hello, folks. Welcome back yet again to the Bibbs Corner podcast. It's your boy Bibbs, live and in the flesh. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm here with my man Josh out of North Carolina, repping the Charlotte Hornets. Josh, say what's up to the people.
What's up to the people?
Okay. So in this episode, we're going to be doing a 2020-2021 NBA season preview. We're going to be running through all the predictions. I'm going to make y'all very upset with some of these predictions. Can't wait to get into it. We're going to not waste any time. If you're listening on the podcast, you're missing out. Go check the YouTube, subscribe, and like. As my man Minda Reese would say, gifts, donations, all that. So anyway, so Josh, first of all, thank you for joining me for this season preview. I know we've been doing this for a while. We've got, I think, even going back on the website to 2017. So definitely glad to bring it to the podcast. How are you feeling about your predictions?
Oh man, I think I told you a couple minutes ago. I mean, in about 5 or 6 months, these are going to look totally stupid and ridiculous. But I think for what we know right now, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting season. We're still waiting on this James Harden situation to resolve itself.
Yep.
A lot of new faces in new places. The COVID situation, how's that gonna affect teams if somebody has to go out for 12 days? Like, it's gonna be crazy. So with that said, what are you most excited about with this season?
NBA offseason always is the best. I mean, there's always so much movement. And so really every season I'm always just so excited to see like you said, new faces and new places, the new duos, Paul and Booker, John Wall and Cousins back together in Houston, even Beal and Westbrook. I mean, KD and Kyrie, got to see that in the preseason a little bit. I mean, all these new team ups, just every year there's something new, and there's new dynamics to see. So I mean, just watching the teams play and seeing who what's different and what's new.
Right.
God, it's the best, man. It is always the best of any sport, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty much the same thing for me. Like, for my Mavs, for example, getting KP back and seeing if he resumes his bubble form where he was doing like 30 and 10 the whole bubble. I think he made like the all bubble team. So
You did, yeah.
like, if he comes back on that, like, the Mavs are going to be looking real scary out here. My boy Maxi's already looking like he's back. So, of course, I'm excited about how my Mavs are looking. I think we have a chance to make some noise this year. But then, like you said, all the new tandems, like Drew Holiday is one of my favorite players. Giannis is one of my favorite players. So now they're together. It's going to be interesting with the shortened off season that, these guys haven't really had a ton of time to practice. So you have to wonder how much continuity is going to favor the teams that didn't make a lot of big changes in the early part of the season, and how that maybe impacts the standings on the back half of the year. With that said, you're excited about your team, I'm sure. I'm excited about my team. You're in market, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And I'm out of market, so it's a little bit less of a situation for me. But, the Fox Sports streaming issue is causing a lot of problems for a lot of fans. How are you navigating that issue?
Not well, I'll say. I mean, my tentative plan is to just watch the games after they happen. Whenever they're added to League Pass. I mean, it's not going to be watching to see if they win, but more just to kind of watch how the team plays.
Right.
I mean, I'm excited for them. I mean, you can see just they look like from the Hornets specifically. I mean, they look like they're having more fun with LaMelo. I think even Miles Bridges posted that he's having fun playing basketball again. And I mean, he's going to be a huge beneficiary with LaMelo on the team, just dishing out crazy assists, man. It looks fun. So like, even if I'm watching those games late, like, it's still going to be interesting to me just to see them and see the level of play I think it's going to be much better than in years past. But other than that, I mean, outside of trying to, I don't know, I've looked into changing my VPN, or I don't even know what that means, but I've like looked into how to do it just so I can change my region or something. But I mean, yeah, I think I'm just gonna try to watch them as they come. I mean, are you able? I actually don't know if you're in market. Are you able to watch away games?
I can't watch
out as well.
Yeah, any games because the local broadcast should have it. Okay. So I can't watch the Hornets either. I'm watching like highlights and stuff. It's really annoying. Like people, non-Hornet appreciators are not going to think that that's a huge deal. But they're the local team, man. I have some feelings for them. Like I want them to do well. So it is going to suck not being able to watch them live. Even with League Pass, I think it was kind of the signal was struggling. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I haven't made any decisions. I've got a day and a half here to figure that out.
Sure.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
So now with all that established, there's only 6, I believe, teams now that are allowing fans into the arena. Limited capacity. I think 25% is the max. And Charlotte is not one of them. I know we usually try to link up for a game. Currently not an option, but if at some point in the season they decide to open it up, how quickly are you trying to get in the arena?
Pretty slowly, if I'm being honest. I mean, like I definitely miss that atmosphere. I mean, being there live, and again, just the chance to see them play at all is gonna be nice. But yeah, I'm trying to be a little more tentative in terms of just going in crowds like that and like into the arenas. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I will be very much wanting to do so. In fact, I think you and I had even talked about it. I think after the draft, we had kind of talked about, all right, we need to get a game in before we found out they weren't letting people in. So, I mean, if they do open it up, I would say I'll be having that conversation with you. I'll first have to have that conversation with my wife to see if I can have that conversation with you. But like, I was
gonna say, I think you skipped a step. Right?
Yeah, it will be a conversation. I mean, what about you? Are you if it's available, are you looking to do it?
So my next question was gonna be, is the vaccine a factor for you? Like the availability of the vaccine, like how many people have had it, et cetera, and so forth. If they're dishing that boy out like Stockton, like is that gonna affect, you think, your plans?
Probably not this season. I don't know how, and it's more just to do with I don't know how fast it's going to be distributed and whether or not that's going to make a big difference.
Right.
In terms of who gets it, how many people get it, if those people are at the games. I mean, I still expect 2021 to be, I'll still be pretty hesitant.
Kind of punt the season.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, but like I said, I still think if they're doing things like, keeping you in clusters, separate rows,
right,
6 feet plus 10 feet away from people. I mean, I think there is a safe way to do it. And if it's working in other arenas as well, that would be a big thing, is if, other teams who are doing it, if it's working there, because I'm sure they're going to be trying to track that stuff back.
Of course.
So, if it's working, and, later after the All-Star break or sometime, they open it up. Like I said, it'd be cool to go, but I'm not rushing.
It's funny because I said, I talked a big game about being slow to go back when it came to the movies, and then the same thing for sports arenas. But like that first week, or not even the first week, it was like the second week after Tenet came out, I said, you know what, if I can get in there, like the first movie showing of the day, I know they've done the precautions like for after the last show or whatever. And then like if it's packed, I'll leave. But if it's pretty empty, then I'll stay. I went to see Tenet. I think it was like one other person in the theater. It was like 11 a.m. Got in, got out, didn't get any concessions or anything. And I was like, you know what, this wasn't too bad. So then I went back the next week. I believe I saw New Mutants. Same thing. Went first showing of the day. One other person in there. No concessions. Didn't take the mask off the whole time. So, and then with basketball, it felt like a different thing because there's way more people. But then Warren got some tickets from Frank Martin and was like, hey, you want to go to this game tonight? And I said yes. And I was in the car. I was on the way. And he checked his text message, and they had canceled the game because the other team didn't get their COVID results back. Wow. And it was like I said I wasn't going to do these things, but like, oh, hey, these restrictions sound legit. It's hard to say no.
Yeah. I mean, and look, yeah, I don't want to say we've been deprived of basketball. I mean, it's just a sport, but it's something, that level of normalcy, something that's just been in our lives. I don't know, right. you want to get back to it as quick as possible. You want to feel like things are good, and it's easy to sort of like forget what's happening outside of your small bubble. And when the opportunity is there, man, like I'm going to be ready for it, to get back to it. But yeah, I mean, I'm personally fine taking it slow, easing back into things, but
yeah. And so I'll talk a big game again. And I can't see myself walking into an arena that large. I think the fact that it's a bit harder, it's like an hour and a half to get to Charlotte, or if I were to like fly to Texas to go to a Mavs game, like that's a bit more work than driving 15 minutes down the street to a South Carolina game. So, we'll see. I have to wait to see how people react. I know we're not in the best area as far as mentality when it comes to this thing. So it's less about being concerned about what I'm doing. I'm concerned about what the next man's doing and if he's going to put us at risk.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have talked about other things for long enough. For the podcast listeners not watching on video, this is where you'll get an ad break. For those on the YouTube, we're going to keep it rolling. Let's jump straight in, man. We're going to go conference standings. We're going to give our top 10. I'm going to let you go first. Just give your number one seed in the East and your reasoning.
All right. Number one seed in the East. I'm going the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis, MVP. They added Rui Holiday. I think the team is better. I think he's the best player in that conference at this point. Other guys coming off injuries, could have bigger seasons. I don't know, but I think Giannis is the best player. I think the Bucks are the best team. That's my number one in the East.
Okay, and I have the same number one in the East. Like you said, Giannis is the best player in the league. Don't care. Debate your mother. They got Drew, who's a much better player than Bledsoe. Don't care what your advanced analytics say. The Bryn Forbes pickup, I think, is sneaky good. And I expect DiVincenzo to take a huge step forward. I think people are sleeping on his potential to be one of those guys that does the little things that make a difference throughout the course of a game. I'm really excited for this Bucks season. I think the contract situation being out of the way is huge for Giannis as well. So it's not like hanging over his head all year. And I think one of the issues they had in the playoffs last year was with nobody really being able to create besides Giannis. And I think that Drew, he's very slept on in his ability to make things happen, get to the hole, and then diamond off to Giannis if somebody crashes on him. Like, I think that if they start running some pick and roll, which they don't do enough of, that's going to be a dangerous tandem. So I'll go first on the number 2 seed. I have the Brooklyn Nets sneaking up, stealing that number 2 seed. This was a tough call for me because Kyrie's coming off multiple injuries. He's struggled to stay healthy throughout his career. Durant's coming off a major injury. But that team made the playoffs last year without either of them. And if they're even healthy for a good portion of the season, you add that on top of LeVert, Dinwiddie. They have depth, ridiculous depth. And I think that's going to be huge this season. Whether you have injuries, a COVID situation, whatever the case may be, having that depth is going to help you to win some of those extra little games that maybe could go the other way when you're dealing with those issues. So I had to go with the Nets at 2.
Yeah. sort of opposite of what you said, and something that kind of I think jumps out a lot as I kind of look back through my rankings for everything. Is just wanting to see, kind of basing off last year's regular season for my predictions for this season. So I don't have the Nets that high just because I want to see how KD and Kyrie look coming back from injury. So I have the Raptors at number 2. I know I'm probably a little higher on them than other people, but I think Fred VanVleet, I think locking him up was smart. I think Siakam maybe takes another step. I think, Malachi Flynn, the rookie they got, looks like he could be a contributor. I don't think he's going to push them over the edge, but I think that team has played, a lot of those guys have played together for a while now. I think Nick Nurse is top coach in the league. I think they're in sync. I don't know if they necessarily make a deep playoff run, but I think regular season, that team knows how to play together. That team has won a lot in the past couple of years, and I think they could. They could be a 2 seed.
I slept on them last year, and I went back to sleep this year.
Yeah, that's fair.
Who do you have as your 3?
I got the Nets at 3, so I couldn't drop them too far. For all the reasons you said, it was a playoff team last year. KD and Kyrie, they look good in the preseason. They look like they're going to play well off each other. If they're healthy for 60% of it, and that team has depth, which is crazy to me that they managed to get those guys and they still have depth. It's a good team. On paper, it might be the best team in the East, even over the Bucks, but I just got to see those guys are coming off big injuries. Weirdly, there's still whether or not they make a trade for Harden or not. I didn't factor that into my decision at all. Okay. But I think that team is such a wild card. But I like him at 3.
Okay. So my 3 is the Celtics. And same thing you kind of said about the Raptors, the continuity, the coach. And I think that's going to be big for them. I think they're also kind of a deep team. They got Tristan Thompson to help with some front court depth, which they've lacked historically. And that helps make them more versatile. They can play with their lineups a little bit more. Tatum, I think, is going to take another step forward. Brown as well. And, I think it's going to be Jeff Teague could be a slept-on bench addition as a backup point guard. So I think they stay pretty much steady where they've been for these past couple of years. I think they hold down that 3 seed. After my 3 seed is where things start to get crazy weird. And judge me all y'all want. My 4 seed is the Philadelphia 76ers. I like the team. I did not factor the Harden trade situation into this either. I like them adding Seth and kind of moving some pieces around. I think that Doc Rivers is going to be good for this team as a defensive-minded coach with a team that can be really, really, really good on defense. And they're going to find – I know Seth struggled in the preseason, but they're going to find ways to get him shots. Ben Simmons, I expect to take a step forward. I think that they're a team that has always been there, and I think that it's hard for me to push them past 4 in this situation.
All right. I'm not going to need to talk too much about my next 2 teams, clearly. Number 4, I have Boston. All the stuff you talked about. I think they have emerging star players who are just going to get better. I think they have some depth. I think Tristan Thompson on the interior was a huge, huge get. Brad Stevens coaching. When Kemba comes back and he's healthy, Celtics going to be, top 4 team easily, I think. 5, I have Philadelphia. Again, all the stuff you said. I think Sixers got better adding Seth on the wing there. I think that opens up the floor more for Simmons, which he needs. Doc Rivers, I think, is going to help that team out coaching wise, and really just getting like Simmons and Embiid to get back to they play very well together when the team is set up correctly, which I think looks like it is more than it has been the past couple of years. I think they could be higher 2 than 5. Like I would not be surprised if they come out and have the type of run that a lot of people kind of predicted they'd have last year. I think this could be the year. So that's my
and
5.
they have a lot of that continuity too. So
exactly, they've been together for a while. A lot of those guys.
And those are your 5, right?
That's my top 5. Yeah.
All right. So my 5th, the Washington Wizards.
Wow.
I think.
Wow.
Adding Westbrook, I think they finished 9th last year, if I'm not mistaken, with no John Wall. They add Westbrook. I don't care how y'all feel about Westbrook. He is Westbrook. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to come out. He's going to play hard every night, go hard to the rim. Him going hard to the rim in a team that has shooters upon the deck. There are shooters everywhere. Snipers, Bertans, Bradley Beal, Thomas Bryant can hit threes. That's your center. So Westbrook being able to run all around, make people crash on him as he's going to the hole. You don't crash on him, he's going. You do crash on him, he's swinging it, and there's shooters literally everywhere. I think that team is going to, I guess, surprise people and do a lot of damage this year. I can see Westbrook and Beal averaging over 30 a game. Westbrook being near a triple-double again. That's going to be a fun team to watch, quite honestly, in my opinion. And I think they're going to make some noise this year.
I will say, just to that real quick, I'm not super low on the Wizards, but I think if you look at, you said they were 9th maybe last year. I think if you look at all the teams in their division, all those teams have gotten better. I think the Heat obviously took a big step in the bubble.
Yeah.
Hornets are going to be much more improved. Atlanta got super deep. Magic might do something. So I don't – yes, the Wizards got better. I think a lot of teams will see a lot also got better. So I'm very interested to see how they look this year for sure. Like, but I love Westbrook personally. So and I love Beal. I think those two guys could be great together. But that's an interesting pick for sure.
Okay. And I think so that's 5 for me. Yeah. My last team in a secure seed is the Miami Heat at the number 6 spot. I had trouble. I was scared to put them this low because I felt like that bubble run may have helped them, but I think that was more – they got a team full of ballers, and they don't care what seed they are. They're going to come out there and hoop. But at the same time, as far as the talent and the depth on that team, I'm not a believer in Harrow like people seem to be. And Dragic is not getting younger. And it was just hard for me to put them above the rest of these teams. I think it could be tight. That Wizards Heat 5-6 area is probably going to be really close. But I lean towards the Wizards just because I think Westbrook is the best player. And really, Beal might be the second best player out of those two teams.
Yeah, so I just noticed too when my top 6 is not in your top 6, and but yeah, my number 6, same thing, is the Heat. I wanted to go higher just because of where they finished last year, but again, that was a run that was just gritty, and those guys played when it counted. Can they maintain that through the whole season? How many games are it? 72 games?
72, yeah.
72. So a lot of those guys are still very young too, so they're just gonna have to show more consistency, but I still think they're a very good team. I think Jimmy Butler is a great leader for that team. Duncan Robinson's lethal. Bam was an all-star last year. It's a good team, but I think 6 is I like them at 6.
Okay. Well, you got at 7.
Okay, at 7, I've got, and I'm regretting it as I'm going to say it to you. I don't know. I got the Pacers at 7.
Okay.
I like that. I like that team on paper. I think if Oladipo is can be happy. I don't know where he stands.
Right.
He was unhappy. Now he's happy to be there. I think if he just, plays like he's capable of, he's a pretty good one option.
Right.
TJ Warren had wasn't he all bubble team?
Yeah.
Right. He had a huge time in the bubble. I mean, Domantas Sabonis, I think, is somehow very underrated, even though he was an all-star last year. Miles Turner, I actually don't know a lot of trade rumors around him.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, Oladipo and Turner could make sense for a Harden trade. I don't know. But I think that team has a lot of good pieces. I'll put them about 7.
Okay. My 7th seed is the Raptors. I think that losing the veteran leadership of Gasol and Ibaka is going to have a bigger impact than maybe a lot realize. Lowry, again, another guy that's not getting any younger. Van Vliet is definitely going to step up in his role, but I think that they have a lot of young guys that are having a much bigger roles and are going to be keyed on more than they've been in years past. We saw how that affected Siakam in the bubble playoffs. So I think they're still a good team. I just think they're going to lose a lot of close games, I think. And then my 8 seed is your Pacers. Same thing. I think they have a lot of depth. I think they're another team that's easy to overlook in the playoffs. And the Oladipo, Miles Turner situations are kind of shaky for me. But Oladipo's look good in the preseason as far as health. He claims he's happy. So you have to take a man's word for it.
Yeah.
And then Miles Turner, they tried to deal him. It didn't work out. And, all he can do is show up and work. So, again, they have depth. They have talent at the top. And they have continuity. So those things are going to be key. I think they get into that top 8 realm. So who's your 8?
I got the Wizards at 8. Again, all the reasons you said. I think that team is built nicely for like a Westbrook-led team, a lot of shooters. Like I said, I like Westbrook. I think he needs to change his game slightly. I think he's going to have to just as he gets older.
I think I expect him to. I expect him to.
I think so too. I mean, he's a guy that likes sharing the ball at times. Like he makes some great passes. He likes to take over a lot, but I mean, I think he's got Bradley Beal there, who can also take over games. So I think if he doesn't try to necessarily be the guy he was in his MVP season, I mean, they've got a great team that works with his skill set. So got Wizards at 8. At 9, I've got the Hawks. I think, maybe a little high. I don't know. I think Trae Young, again, he's only going to get better. They got super deep for in kind of an odd way. I mean, there's a lot of front court depth, but I mean, I think having a guy like Gallinari just coming off the bench is huge. But Hunter and Huerter, how do you say his name?
Yeah, we'll roll with it.
Cam Reddish. I mean, they've got a lot of young guys that are going to get better. John Collins. I like John Collins a lot in the front court. Just a lot of pieces, and if they can figure out how to use them all well together with Trae Young leading them, and if he takes a step forward, which I fully expect him to do, I think they'll be competitive.
So, quick note on John Collins: he did not sign an extension today. And so that's going to be something that's looming over their heads over the course of the season. That's just a side note. So they were your 8 or 9?
That was my 9.
Okay. My 9 is the Magic. And I feel like this might be low for them. Aaron Gordon has looked better than he has to me in past years. I love Cole Anthony.
Oh, yeah.
Fultz just got his extension, so he's comfortable. They're dealing with some major injuries with what's his name? Jonathan Isaac is going to be out for the whole year. Mo Bamba had some serious COVID side effects apparently, so we don't know when he's going to come back. But I really love Vucevic. I think he's probably the most underrated player in the league right now. When I was watching their game the other day, apparently he's going to be shooting at least 8 threes a game is what they're mandating from him. So he could have a pretty ridiculous scoring year. I just think that they're deeper. They're deep enough to be in that playoff hunt. I would not be surprised to see them finish higher than 9. And then my 10th team, quite honestly, any of these last 6 teams could get that 10.
Yeah.
I didn't go, I'm glad we're not doing all the way through 15 because I would not know who to pick. I went out on a limb with this one. You know what? No, I'm going to stick with it. I'm not going to change it.
Say it, man.
Cavaliers.
Oh, I don't like that at all. No, I'm just kidding. I was kidding. That's a surprise, though.
I think a lot of guys are going to do more than is expected of them. The problem with all these other teams is young guard play. Every single one has young guards.
Yeah.
No matter which way you slice it. The Hawks, you can say Rondo's there as a vet, but it's not the playoffs, so ain't no telling what Rondo's going to be doing.
True.
I had to give it to the Cavaliers just because I think as far as the top talent with veteran leadership, I had to give it to the Cavs. Currently, if Love is healthy and Drummond is healthy, those guys leading the pack, catching all those rebounds from those young guys' bricks. I'm a real believer in Kevin Porter Jr., and he just had the scare of his life. I hope it wakes him up. Yeah. Garland's look pretty good. Sexton, I think, can take a step. Osman is overdue. Okoro looks good. Like, I think they have enough. They have, like, at least two guys at almost every position that can, if one guy's having an off night, the other guy can step up type of thing. So I think they're going to steal a lot of games against those other teams that are in that bottom six.
Yeah, I will say, yeah, you've brought me a little more onto the Cavaliers side. Again, though, you know, it's like I think when your two best players are in the front court, I don't necessarily like that in terms of being a high-ranking team nowadays. Right. But I do agree if that backcourt, if Sexton and Garland, you know, take steps. I mean, they could absolutely be competitive, which we were talking about before we started this. The East is actually much more competitive than it has been in years past. But at 10, I've got the Magic. All the reasons you said. I mean, I think Vucevic is definitely very underrated. I think Fultz could possibly have like a most improved player type of season, which would be very exciting. We'll get to that later. Yeah, no, but just in general, I'm glad he got his extension. I think he absolutely has talent. He's finding, you know, you can see in the past couple of years, he just got much more comfortable, starting to, you know, get back to kind of the player he's expected to be. Cole Anthony, I think it's going to be a great backup there. 48. It's a good team. So yeah, I think I'll put them at 10. But like you said, after that, I mean, any of these teams, you know, could compete for those play-in spots.
Yeah. We only had one team different. It was those bottom two teams, the Hawks and the Cavaliers. So I like that we're pretty much on the same page there.
I was surprised by that. Yeah.
So quickly run down your Eastern standings just for continuity purposes.
Yeah, I got Bucks, Raptors, Nets, Celtics, 76ers, Heat at 6, and then the 4 teams that will be playing for the last 2 playoff spots will be Pacers, Wizards, Hawks, and Magic.
And then for me, Bucks 1, Nets 2, Celtics 3, 76ers at 4. Those are home seeds. Wizards and Heat 5, 6. And then the play-in games, Raptors, Pacers, Magic, and the Cavs.
All right.
Transition to the Western Conference. And do you want to keep the same format, or you want to switch it up to move it along quicker? You want to do 2 or 3 at a time?
We'll do let's do 2 at a time.
Okay. I'll go first on this one since you went first last time.
Go for it.
My top 2. Nuggets at 1, Lakers at 2.
Okay.
I think the Nuggets are a way deeper team. I think they're already having issues with who to start between Michael Porter Jr., Gary Harris, and Will Barton. Like, those 3 are already fighting for minutes. Bobo's going to get more minutes. Porter Jr. is going to get more minutes. They already have 2 guys that are all-star caliber players in Murray and Jokic. Gary Harris is healthy. They scare me as like they just the amount of weird lineups they can throw out at you. Like they can play Bobo at the 2 if they want.
Yeah. With
his skill set. That team, I just feel like they have so much roster versatility, so much depth, and they have the continuity. They lost Jerry and Grant, but you lose Jerry and Grant and you play Porter Jr. and Bobo more. I mean, I love Grant, but I'm not sure how much of a dent that's making in their ability to win games. So I'm excited for the Nuggets. Lakers, I mean, they're the Lakers. They still have 2 of the best top 5 players in the NBA right now. No matter who you are, you can't debate that. They got Schroeder, who I think was a sneaky good pickup. And then Kuzma got his contract, so he's not going to be pressing.
Yeah.
Did they get Gasol? Yeah.
Yeah.
They got Gasol, so they lose Dwight Howard, but they still have that front court versatility. If they need a big body to bang, they can throw Gasol in there. He's a better passer anyway. So again, the Lakers are the Lakers.
Yeah. I didn't say it for yours, but I'll say it for mine. They Lakers also got Montrezl Harrell, which
no comment on. Which, I was kidding.
I know, but I've got Lakers at 1. I mean, look, I think they're the best team in the league last year. They got better. They got like objectively better until someone dethrones them or LeBron looks his age. I'm gonna put them at 1. And I got Clippers at 2. I think the coaching change should shake things up there a little bit. I don't think Paul George can be possibly as bad as he was in the bubble again this year. I mean, he is too good of a player. He's just too good of a player. You know, I think he made a lot of excuses for why he played bad, and you know we can just putting those aside. I think he comes back. I think he becomes more the player he was expected to be, that Kawhi was expecting to have with him. You know, they also started airing some stuff out about guys just not being happy with him and Kawhi getting preferential treatment. So hopefully that locker room, you know, gets a little more bonded and we can see them make a deep run to hopefully meet up with the Lakers or one of those other big teams. You know, kind of like we were hoping to see last year. But, you know, we'll see. My number 3 is the Nuggets. You know, again, you gotta, you know, your analysis definitely makes me rethink having them this low, because I agree they are just weirdly deep at all positions. You know, maybe possible to have too much depth. I mean, you can only play 5 of those guys at a time. You know, Murray just killer in the bubble, but is he going to do it? You know, come regular season, that's huge. And again, kind of going back to what I said about the Cavs earlier, you know, Jokic being your best player, can you really be like dominant, you know, consistently with your best man being a center? We'll see. But yeah, but I mean, Porter Jr., Bobo, Will Barton coming back, like you said. I mean, the line. You're right about the lineups. I mean, Bobo playing the 2 is insane prospect. But I mean, they're going to be super fun to watch. Easily the one of the most exciting teams. Okay, this is one that I think this is my 2017, 2018 Josh coming out. I got Warriors at 4.
The who?
The Golden State Warriors at 4.
Okay.
Which is crazy, but I think easy to forget how good Steph is. Easy to forget how much he just completely changes the league when he's playing. I think Draymond Green plays much better when he's got those guys. You know, I think Oubre is a great pickup. I think he'll actually do well playing off a guy like Steph. You know, Andrew Wiggins too. You know, I think Steph takes so much pressure off a lot of these guys. They can play better basketball, not as much as expected of them. So you think about Wiggins playing his best, Oubre. I mean, James Wiseman can really develop if, you know, Draymond Green can get back to a defensive player of the year type of guy. I mean, I still think it's a very good team. I don't think they're winning it all without Clay, but I think Steph just is the type of player that can, you know, completely take over, you know, score 30 a game. And I mean, I still think they have Kerr. I still think they have a lot of the pieces, you know, Eric Pascal, great season last year. You know, I think he's going to get better. I think they've got a lot of pieces. And yeah, I mean, I just trying not to forget how good Steph is at his best. And I think if he is that, I think they could surprise people.
Okay. And this is where I start to make people upset on the podcast. My 3 seed is the Utah Jazz.
Wow.
Whole lot of Jazz in there. Donovan and Gobert signed their contracts. They're fat off the hog right now. Both of them, I think, got a taste of how special they can be in the bubble. I think that Donovan is going to take a huge step forward as far as his consistency this year. I think that they have Conley now. Usually when a team gets a point guard like that, that first year in, they kind of struggle to find how they fit. But now that you're coming into year two, I think Conley's going to fit better. Clarkson off the bench as a bucket getter. Derek Favors adds depth to the front court behind Gobert. People forget that what the Jazz did in the bubble without their second leading scorer and Bogdanovich is coming back. He was averaging 20 points a game. They didn't have him when they pushed the Nuggets to 7 in the bubble. So him coming back and just their system is going to run smoother this year. I think that by even adding Favors, he knows their system. So they're going to run seamlessly. So again, that continuity, I think, plays a role here. And I think people sleep on the Jazz. I feel like this is a year they have to make a statement. And my 4 seed is in a similar position. The Portland Trailblazers. More depth, probably the best team that Dame has had since he's been the man in Portland. I actually had the Blazers as my 3 seed last year before the entire team went to the IR. I think that Covington's going to be huge for them. I think that their front court depth, I know this is not the age of the big man, but just being able to have that much versatility in the front court to match up with whatever team. You got a big body in Nurkic. You got an athletic guy in Collins who can shoot. You have just an athlete, period, in Giles. You got a guy that just can get buckets for you in his Cantor. You still got Melo there to come get buckets for you off the bench. Gary Trent was huge in the bubble. I feel like he's going to take a step forward. Anthony Simons, they just have a really, really deep team. Again, you have the continuity with the only real new pieces playing a big role being Covington. Cantor knows the system. He was there when they went to the Western Conference Finals a couple years ago. I think that's going to be huge. And it was tough putting them at 4 because I have goals for this team to be in the top 4. I think that 3 through 6 in the West is going to be close.
Agreed.
So getting to 5 and 6, and you might notice some names have not been said that have been said on your side. I just think the West is going to be this tough this year.
For sure.
I have the Mavs coming in at 5.
Okay.
I think Porzingis is healthier than we probably realize. Again, I expect him to get back to his pre-bubble form. I like the rotations the Mavs can throw out. Again, you get that front court versatility with Porzingis playing the 5 primarily. Maxi Cleaver's shot is back. Josh Richardson shot 70% from 3 in the preseason. Obviously, he's not going to do that in the regular season, but questions about whether or not we're going to have a huge fall off between him and Seth are completely dumb. I can't believe that's even a thing.
Right.
Seth holds the ball because he doesn't want to miss a shot. Richardson is pulling if he's wide open. Tim Hardaway Jr. seems to have carried over his success shooting from last year. We got some toughness between Richardson and James Johnson. I'm just really excited about the team. Again, I'm putting them at the 5, but that 3 through 6 is pretty much like a toss-up in my opinion. It's probably going to be separated by 2 games. My 6 seed then is the Clippers. I do think Harrow leaving hurts them. I do think that the turmoil within the locker room and the rumors and Patrick Beverley not being a quality basketball player and them not resolving their point guard situation is going to hold them back as well. I don't know if I can't give Ty Lue credit for anything he's done as a head coach based on the situations. So I'm not sure how to feel about him as a general leading that team. Again, that 3 through 6 is going to be a toss-up. I just think they're going to lose enough of those close games to drop them down to the 6.
All totally fair points. So where am I? I'm on 5, right?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. My 5 are the Blazers. Agreed. Very deep team, probably the best team Dame's had. I still think he's obviously the engine that keeps that thing running, but he needs those pieces around him for them to win. I think Cantor coming back, knowing the system is big. You just get a guy that can fit right in pretty easily. And Covington, big get. Melo being willing to come off the bench is huge. I'm excited he's finally embracing that role. I think it's a good team. I think Dame, just one of the best players in the league. Absolutely love watching him play. I want him to make one of those like epic runs, and I think it could happen this year. But like you said, that middle, that 3 through 6, 3 through 8 in the West, man. I mean, it can be so close, which is exciting. It's going to make the season more interesting, I think.
Right.
6, I got the Mavericks. I think Luka is very, very close to being the best player in the entire league. He just knows how to make players better. He gets buckets, gets rebounds. He helps other guys on the team. I mean, I don't have to tell you or any of the people watching or listening to this how good he is. But I think if KP comes back, he's healthy. I agree. I think in the last time I was on the podcast with you, I mentioned I think the Seth for Josh Richardson trade helped both Philadelphia and it helps Dallas. I think Josh Richardson just does a little more than Seth. Maybe he's not as elite a shooter, but he does a lot of the other things. And I think he can get his own shot a little better as well. I like the Mavericks at 6. Again, now here we go where it gets, tricky. 7, I am taking a leap and I'm saying the Suns. Look, what Chris Paul did with the Thunder, he now has Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton to do that with. They've got guys on the perimeter that can defend like Bridges. I think what he can do with those type of guys really push them to another level.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel good about the Suns. I'm excited to see Booker take a big step. I think Ayton's going to take a big step as well. So I'm going to put Suns at 7, and then I'm going to put Jazz at 8. I feel like it's pretty low. Like, you brought up some good points. I mean, Donovan Mitchell was crazy in that Nuggets series. I think obviously there was a lot of issues with that team last year with kind of Gobert starting the whole COVID thing. Seems like a lot of that's in the past. He got paid. I think he's happier now. I think that team should gel. Like you said, just they got Favors back, a guy that has been there before. Conley should keep getting better. He wasn't great last year, but he's very good. I think again, just kind of goes back. A lot of this has been just having depth. And guys taking those steps that they should take. And I absolutely agree. Jazz can be way higher than 8. But just kind of this is how it played out for me as I looked through it. So
yeah, they stick to it, man. The West is crazy. Like anything is possible.
Yeah.
All right. So that's your through 8, right?
Yeah.
My 7 is the Warriors. Like you said about Steph, out of sight, out of mind. I don't remember what watching him play basketball looks like, to be honest. I do expect him to come out and get buckets. I feel like there's a lot of new pieces around him. I'm not sure how they're going to come together necessarily, or how long it's going to take, or how much it's going to matter, really, because, again, you have Steph there. He's a special player. Sure. I do really like Oubre. I do really like Wiseman. I just don't know how much you can trust him. And I'm definitely not sure what to think about Wiggins. So
right.
I'll probably watch them early in the season to kind of get a gauge on how I feel about them. But the way they started last year made me feel comfortable keeping them down at 7, because I didn't think they got off to a great start last year.
That's fair.
And then my 8 is your Suns. I do think CP3 is going to have an impact on that team. I do think Booker's going to take a step forward with an actual floor general beside him. No disrespect to Rubio, but CP3 just does a little bit more in that regard. I do think Ayton is probably slept on because of how much time he missed last year with the suspension. I do also think he'll take a huge step forward with CP3 there, throwing him lobs. And again, they have shooters everywhere as well. So excited about that team. McCall Bridges should be impactful on defense, guarding other teams' wings. So again, I like them locking down that 8 seed. These next two were the toughest for me. My 9 seed is the Rockets. And I did kind of factor the Harden situation into this a little bit. I don't know. I expect him to get traded at some point. I don't know when. It's hard for me to also accept that John Wall is going to be able to make it through the whole season. So even if Harden doesn't get traded for whatever reason, I don't know if they're going to have the depth that it looks like they have right now. Cousins, same thing. I don't know how much he's going to be able to play and stay healthy. Christian Wood, I really love, but if James Harden is there, how is he going to be utilized? Just a whole lot of moving parts there. So I do think they make the play-in, but I couldn't put them higher than 9. And then my 10 seed is the Pelicans. I think Zion, I believe is how it's supposed to be pronounced. I keep forgetting. Zion is healthy, and Brandon Ingram continues to grow. I wanted to put them higher, but I couldn't. I just think they have a lot of young talent, and Steven Adams being there is a slept-on addition, but it's going to be curious how they have a lot of depth in weird areas. It's going to be interesting to see how they use the roster and mix it up. I feel like Ingram's the only real wing they have off the top of my head.
Yeah, I can't put the whole roster in my head right now, but it's possible. Right.
So those are my 10.
Okay.
Who are your last couple?
Yeah, I'll say I don't have the Rockets in here. I'm basically the assumption is it seems like Harden's almost definitely going to be traded. Okay. They're likely, I don't know what kind of stars they're getting back. Cousins and Wall are, as excited as I am to see them play, they're both coming off of multi-year injuries.
Right.
If Christian Wood's your best guy, I just don't think that's a competitive enough team.
Yeah.
Like we said, this West is deep. So I might end up eating those words, but for now, I don't. If
it's too much unpredictability there.
Absolutely, but we'll see. I still think it'll be a fun team. But I've got Pelicans at 9, Grizzlies at 10. Actually,
okay.
Pelicans, like you said, I think Zion getting a whole year of him is going to be exciting. Brandon Ingram, he took a huge leap last year. I think they have another guy that might be a most improved type player this year, Lonzo. I'm actually excited for Lonzo to take a step forward, man. JJ Redick, there you go. But was saying he's just telling him to not pass up shots. I think Lonzo, weird looking shot, but I think he made a lot in college. I think he can do it again if he's more confident. And Grizzlies, John Morant, I think just going to be have a big season. I don't know. I think he's just going to carry that team on his back. But
it was hard for me. They were my 11. I'll say that the Grizzlies were my 11. I think Jaren Jackson Jr. being hurt is what allowed me to keep them out.
It's fair. I just think Ja just looks so good, man. I haven't seen him carrying that team a la Allen Iverson type thing. Not to the finals, but
just a little bit of bias
to the 10 spot.
Just a little bit of South Carolina bias. So I smell it in the air.
Yeah. That's fair.
All right. Eastern All-Stars. Or do you want to do the playoffs first?
Let's do the All-Stars. Okay. Yeah, and we can, I'll go through these a little bit quicker for sure. So my starters on the East, and I guarantee I'm going to have missed somebody. My starters going to be Kyrie, Ben Simmons, KD, Giannis, and Embiid. My reserves are going to be Jimmy Butler, Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, Jason Tatum, Pascal Siakam, Kyle Lowry, and Trae Young.
Wow, the Lowry is the surprise there. You think is he starting this year?
Oh, you know what? I thought he was. Are they going to start?
I have no idea. I really don't know.
That pick was absolutely made with, the presumption that he was going to be starting. Yeah. Listen, I'm still high on the Raptors, and if Lowry is the starting point guard there. I think he's going to get a lot of the credit for what they do. Again, if that doesn't happen, if he's not.
Did you have Siakam?
I had Siakam, and we did alternates as well. I've got Van Vliet as one of my alternates, along with Bam, Sabonis, and then kind of cheated. I did like a Middleton / Drew Holiday. Maybe one of those guys gets probably Middleton.
I went a little bit more committal with mine.
All right.
So pretty much had the same guys. Giannis, Middleton, Beal, Kyrie, Durant. I didn't do starters and bench.
Oh, okay. I was like, that's a weird five.
So Giannis, Middleton, Beal, Kyrie, Durant from my top teams. Then Tatum, Simmons, Embiid, Westbrook, Jimmy Butler, Pascal, and Trey. That's the starters and reserves. My alternates were Drew, Oladipo, if he stays healthy, Vucevic, and Van Vliet.
A lot of similarities. I think the Lowry pick on my end if I'm wrong by him starting, that's going to look silly. I like Milton there. I like the Vucevic pick in there. I agree that he's one of the most underrated guys in the league, if not the most underrated. He never gets talked about, but he's a stud. Oladipo maybe over Sabonis if he's healthy.
If he's back to himself,
like he's gonna be the number one option there. You didn't have Bam out of Bio.
Yeah, when you said Bam, I didn't even think about that. I just put Jimmy Butler in there.
But
because I think Embiid and it depends on how they look at. I don't know if they count Giannis as a center or what. So.
Yeah. And also, I told you I kind of cheated on my All-Stars. You can see I'm not very committal, but I put an asterisk and I put James Harden's name at the bottom. If he's traded to the East, I think it's almost a certainty he makes it in some capacity. But
unless it's like I forget how it works when it's like right near the deadline. Like I don't know how it works.
I was reading reports that
after the All-Stars. I don't know.
I don't know what they're doing this year.
Yeah, well, they're not doing an actual game anyway, so.
Oh, that's true. You're right. So, no.
All right, I'll do my West first if you want.
Go for it.
And this is kind of is going to be the starters, so we'll do that. West All-Stars: Murray, Jokic, AD, LeBron, Luka Doncic, and then bench: Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, because I expect that team to be in the top of the West. Kawhi, Steph, Booker, Zion, and Karl Anthony Towns.
Wow. Okay. The cat one was a big one. We were actually, maybe there's one guy we don't.
You want my alternates or you want to give yours first?
Give me your alternates real quick.
Porzingis, PG, CP3, and Ingram.
Okay. A lot of similarities.
Making edits over there?
No. I just had a misspelling.
Okay.
So my starters are Steph, because again, I think Warriors are going to be, and look, he's going to get voted, right?
Yeah.
It's a voting for the starters.
True. I hate that. That's why
I don't like that as much either, but it is what it is. So Steph and Luka, LeBron, AD, and then Jokic as the starters. Reserves: Kawhi, Dame, Mitchell and Gobert, Jamal Murray, Booker, and then I got Zion as well. I think getting to see him for a whole season, I think he's just about to take a huge leap.
I'm an idiot.
Who'd you forget? Dame.
I left Dame out. I don't leave Dame out.
It's kind of hard to go through and look at these teams.
Swap Dame and Booker. Take Booker out. Shoot.
Yeah.
Put him in an alternate.
So then I think you didn't have Steph, right?
I had Steph. He's there.
Try to think if you had Cat, who do I have that you? Oh, Dame, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Is he the only one we had different? Did you have Gobert?
I got Gobert and Mitchell. I got Jamal Murray and Booker and Zion, and then my alternates are Chris Paul, Paul George, Brandon Ingram, and then I got John Morant. Again, I just think he's
okay. So you're John Porzingis.
Yeah, and then got an asterisk, and I got James Harden.
Man, look,
the guy is going to be an all-star. I just don't know what team, what conference, who knows where he's going to be, man.
I'll allow it.
But I think a lot of similarities there on both of those lists, actually.
Yeah, I'm surprised actually that they were that similar.
Me too.
Really had one different, technically.
Yeah, but and looking at the reserves too, for either the reserves, any of those guys could be on the list. I mean, it's deep. Like I didn't include Cat just because I don't think
they're gonna be good.
The Wolves are gonna be that good. But I mean, Russell too. Russell was an all-star 2 years ago. I mean, there's a lot of talent in both conferences. So I mean, guys are gonna get left out, but. And the talent's starting to get a little more spread out again. It's not as clustered as it used to be, which is exciting. I feel like we're getting a lot of teams. So yeah, I mean that's I think it's going to be very interesting. But I think we're probably going to be pretty close in our.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the alternates, I think that kind of covers the loose ends, sort of.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So, all rookie or playoffs?
Yeah, so we're not going to do all NBA. We can jump to all rookie, and then we'll end with the playoffs.
And then the awards after that?
Sure. I'm down with that. All right, so are we doing all rookie first? Or
do your first team, and then I'll do my first team.
All right, man. I'll disclaimer, like I didn't watch as much preseason as I would have liked. So a lot of this, I probably didn't see these guys enough.
Yeah, I'm eating on the video.
No, yeah, I'm over here trying to like not breathe heavily and just eating snacks. First team, I'm gonna say LaMelo, Tyrese Maxey, Devin Vassell. I'm gonna say Obi Toppin, and then I'm gonna say Bobo. I think he's technically a center, so I'm gonna say Bobo there.
Okay. My first team, I have Wiseman because the Warriors have said that he's probably going to start at some point. LaMelo because I expect him to get a lot of playing time and a lot of hype. This was a tough one, but I put Cole Anthony there because even though he's going to be coming off the bench, he's looking like he might be a steady 12 to 15 point.
He looked very
6-7 assist guy.
I did see 2 of his games. Obviously, he played the Warriors. He looks good.
Okay. So Fultz got his contract, but Cole Anthony is right on his cheeks. And he just looks like a vet already. Like he just looks like he's ready to go. So I'm excited for him. Obi Toppin's going to get plenty of opportunity in New York to put up empty stats. Denny Avdija is my sleeper to make that team. I think he's going to be like a good Swiss Army knife on that team. They've made comments to make it sound like he might get to start also. So, and he was actually shooting better than I expected to see him shooting as well. I think he's going to be, again, one of those glue type guys that puts up a lot of stuff in a lot of different categories. Even if he doesn't have like the overall scoring, I think his rebound, assists, steal, blocks are going to make up for that. And the Wizards overperforming people's expectations is going to play into him getting attention. And I can do my next 5 if you want.
Go for it.
Anthony Edwards. It was hard. I had a hard time choosing whether or not I was going to put him there because I don't expect him to be starting this year. But I think he's talented enough. He's going to make enough noise to where his stats will speak for themselves.
Locked up Luka. Locked him up. Shut him down.
Well, Fat Luka just wasn't ready for a rookie to be as strong as him, right?
Is that Fat Luka? Is that what you said?
Thick Luka with 2 C's. Thick Luka wasn't ready for a rookie to be as strong as him. Halliburton, I think, is a sleeper. I think he's going to make a lot of noise. I think they penciled him in as a starter beside Fox. Just his IQ, he's not going to make a lot of mistakes. He's probably going to shoot a high percentage, get a lot of steals, easy buckets. He's going to make that Kings team look better than maybe they should. Killian Hayes, I put there just because I think he's going to have a lot of opportunity as well up in Detroit. And I love that Derrick Rose has embraced that mentor role with him. Josh Green is my homer pick. It looks like he's going to be getting regular rotation minutes. I like what I see from him. I think he's going to be a guy that can get 10 to 12 a night as well, and he's going to have a lot of highlights dunking on people. So I'm excited about that. And then finally, Bobo is my fifth. I'm not 100% sure what his role is in Denver or how they're going to use him. But again, you have hype. You're going to be on a good team. You're going to put up some weird numbers. Probably going to get a good shot at getting voted in.
Yeah, that's a big part of it for sure. So, yeah, my second team or my next five, going to say Edwards. I mean, he's going to have as much attention as anybody. He's the number one overall pick. So I think he'll play well enough to make, second team. Cole Anthony, I think he's going to be one of those guys that was just a huge steal. Not people are going to be really unsure why he fell as far as he did. But I think it's positionless basketball now. He can play alongside Bolts. So I mean, he looked, like you said, he looked like he's been there already. He looked like a pro. Did Patrick Williams, possibly? I mean, he had a pretty good preseason. Again, didn't watch a lot of it. So a lot of more when I'm going off for some highlights and just looking at some numbers on paper. But it seems like he was pretty productive. I got a Coro. He looked good as well. Kind of what you mentioned with Cleveland earlier. I think there's just going to be opportunities for a lot of those guys to play. And then I got Wiseman. And some of my alts were, Denny in Washington. I think he's good, like you said. I think he's going to play well off those guys. And if he just hits the shots he's supposed to hit, I think he'll have a big season. Halliburton, for sure, is another guy. Who are some of your?
You did two alts on that one?
I mean, I had a couple other names I put down. Malachi Flynn.
Okay, you mentioned him earlier.
I did mention him. Again, I saw them play, so I paid a little more attention.
I haven't seen him personally.
He looks good. I mean, he doesn't look super impressive when you just see him, but when he's playing, I mean, he's scrappy. He does a lot of things.
He fits the system there.
He very much does. Yeah, exactly. He's just the right type of guy for that team. Similar like Peyton Pritchard in Boston. Okay. Did you watch Boston play?
No.
He's just another guy that just doesn't look like he could go out there and I mean, he's not exactly locking guys down, but he's just all over the place. He's all over the ball. I mean, he makes plays. He, as small as he is, he's still driving to the basket and getting buckets. I mean, he's on a good team where, not going to have a lot of pressure on him. So I think he could just kind of surprise people and be a guy that, very much a role player, but just, does well in his role there.
Okay.
So who are some of the other guys you got?
So my alternates were two of your guys you had on the second team, Okoro and Williams.
Yeah.
Bad teams, so plenty of opportunity probably for both of those guys. Emmanuel Quickly.
Yeah.
In New York, apparently is getting some hype as a maybe starting or at least backup point guard. I liked him in college. And again, that team is going to not be great. So again, opportunities there. And there's a big competition. Frank Ntilikina and Dennis Smith are fighting for their NBA lives at point guard. So I don't think he's going to back down from that competition. When he gets his opportunities, he's going to have to take the most of them. And my sleeper, Pokachevsky.
Okay.
That Thunder team is so ugly, man. I feel like he's going to get minutes. And he's weird enough that people might just vote him in if he does enough.
He's the next unicorn, right? That's what they're saying he could be. Yeah, but I agree. I mean, he's just the type of guy that team, there's so much opportunity because it's really – I mean, there's only one, star caliber player there right now. So any of those other guys has nothing but opportunity to step up. So maybe he does. We'll see.
All right. You said you want to do the playoffs next, right?
I'm fine with that.
All right. Let me slide my info down. All right. So the way we'll do it is we won't go like series by series. We'll just do any notable first round result you have. So if we need to run back to what your matchups were before you give the notable result, go ahead and do that.
I mean, my only notable result is actually how the matchup ends up playing. Huh?
You jump into the end on the playoffs?
No, I was just gonna say I actually have I believe my 10 seed. Yeah, I've got my 10 seed in the East. Basically, making it into the playoffs as the 8.
Okay. Who's the 10 seed?
So that was the Magic.
You have them beating.
So they would be beating the number. Who would they play? The number 7?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they'd be beating the Pacers.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I'd really call notable there.
I have something similar in my play-in as well.
What's that?
Actually, it's the same. It's the same teams.
Right.
I have the Magic and Pacers as my 9-10, or not 9-10, my 8-9, and I have the Magic beating the Pacers, the 9 beating the 8.
Okay.
So that was my only notable play-in result as well.
Okay.
My only notable first round result, I expect pretty much chalk in both conferences. My only notable playoff result that is worth talking about is I do have that 4-5 game in the West, Blazers Mavs. I do have the Blazers beating the Mavs in a 7-game series.
Wow.
Dame Dollar, Dame and Luka down to the wire. Like, don't care who your team is. Whichever team loses, you can't be mad because it's just going to be that crazy of a series.
That could be very much like that Jazz Nuggets series last year. Just
Yeah.
Mitchell and Murray going at it, each dropping 40, 50. I mean, Luka versus Dame in a 7-game series would be crazy. That'd be epic. Absolutely. I've got pretty much chalk as well. I think the 4 teams I have winning are my top 4 seeds.
But any of those matchups interesting?
Interesting. Celtics 76ers, I think that would go to 7. I
Okay.
have, I've got Boston pulling that out in 7. Just because I actually think, I mean, you could make, I think a lot of people would argue Embiid would be the best player in that series. I think Jason Tatum might be the best player in that series. I think he would, help Boston pull that out.
Okay. All right, I like it.
Yeah.
You froze for a second. You came back, though.
Good.
So that's your first round. You want to do the notable second?
Well, I was just going to say also, I've got the Raptors moving on as well, which is, surprising.
Who are they playing?
Kind of playing the Wizards.
Okay.
I think that matchup just works out well for them.
Yeah.
I still think they probably get pushed to 6. Like I said, I like them in the regular season, but I think when it gets to the playoffs, I don't know. Like you said, a lot of young guys.
Exactly. Okay.
So how do you want to do this? Do West or go to second round for the East?
I just did the whole playoffs for my. Do you have a West notable in your first round? Because I didn't have anything notable in the East for me in the first round. I just said chalk across the board.
Oh yeah, no. I mean everything else is pretty much chalk. West, I mean nothing surprising there.
Okay. What's your notable second round? Or just give me your best 2 or 3 series, whatever you got.
For the West or the East?
Let's do East first.
Yeah. I mean, look, East I've got Bucks and Celtics, and I've got Raptors and Nets. I think both those games probably or both those series, are probably 7. But yeah, I think the Nets make it to the finals. I know I mentioned earlier, kind of worried about Kyrie and KD, but man, if they can get that far, I just can't not.
Conference finals or the finals?
I think they're making the conference finals in the East.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
I also have Nets Celtics in that second round, and I do have the Nets beating the Celtics. I think it sucks for the Celtics, but KD's been there, and I think that experience is – and Kyrie's been there as well, so I think that experience wins out at the end of the day. In the West, in the second round, remember the Nuggets were the 1 seed, so Blazers-Nuggets 1-4 game. I have the Blazers upsetting the Nuggets in another epic series.
All right, that'd be exciting.
I'll let you. You got any more notable? I can go to my next one if not.
Yeah, go to your next.
My other notable Jazz Lakers, the 2-3 game. I have the Jazz upsetting the Lakers. Donovan Mitchell goes stupid,
Okay.
and the Lakers just have no answer for him. Don't think LeBron's got as much in the tank anymore. I think that LeBron having to do most of his damage inside and having a guy like Gobert around is going to be a problem for him. I don't think they have enough shooters to play him off the court. And the way the Jazz play, it's not going to really matter who's on AD. They're not going to try to play to their skill sets. They're going to make the Lakers deal with them how they play. So AD, if he wants to go off, fantastic. I don't know if he can go off to the way that Donovan Mitchell can versus that type of roster that the Lakers have put together.
I will say people have been saying LeBron was going to fall off for like the past 5 years now. And the man just keeps going. I just like
fall off, but even in that bubble playoff, I noticed he was getting tired at the end of games. And they were not challenged as much as I expect them to be challenged in this series.
That's fair. If they are challenged, yeah. But I do think I think they got some pieces.
I think it'll be six or seven.
And getting like, yeah, I mean, it would definitely be a good series. I don't think it would be a sweep or anything like that. I do have, I guess if you want to call this notable, I would say actually both of my second round matchups in the West are pretty notable. Got Lakers versus the Warriors. And I'm very confident that I am way, way, way too overhyped on the Warriors right now. I think I had them playing the Blazers in the first round, which I just think would be a shooting battle. Dame and Steph just going back and forth. Again,
the Warriors.
I'm not a Warriors. Yeah, I'm not even a Warriors fan. I just think what Steph does, I just think he can outscore anyone. And again, if they're getting down there, Kerr's been there. That team, very different team. So again, I'm already regretting that choice. But I do think it would be very interesting to have the Warriors playing the Lakers. That would be a totally different LeBron versus Steph matchup. I don't even think it'd be that exciting of a series necessarily.
But you do expect the Lakers to go ahead and close that out pretty easily?
I do, yeah. If the Warriors were to make it that far. Again, as we're talking now, I'm like, maybe that's a little much for the Warriors, honestly. But my other matchup,
for the sake of the argument, if it's the Blazers Lakers, does that change anything for that result?
I think it does change in that I'm probably pushing that to 6 or 7 games versus the 5 I had. I think, look, man, I don't know. It is tough because last year I thought they were going to push them further too, especially I think Blazers took game 1 when they played the Lakers and then Lakers just flipped the switch. So, but like we talked about, I think Blazers have the best team they've had with Dame in a while. Got stronger in the front court. So, maybe that helps them go against the Lakers bigs. I've also got Clippers and Mavs round 2. Round 2. So I think I had the Mavs coming in at 6 and the Clippers are my 2 seed. So I've got them meeting in the second round. Going
who did the Mavericks upset? I forgot.
Man, I don't know. Nuggets.
Okay.
The thing about the Nuggets is I know. Sorry, I guess I'm not even going through all my stuff. I got Lakers, Jazz, Warriors, Blazers, Nuggets, Mavs, and then Clippers and Suns. But yeah, I think the Nuggets, I just need to see Murray really be more consistent throughout the season. I think he kind of needs to be as much a leader on that team as Jokic. And a lot of their other best players are still very, very young. So we just need to see what they can do. But I would love to see Clippers versus Mavericks round 2. I still put the Clippers winning it in 7. I think that's just me wanting to see a solid Clippers versus Lakers finals in the West.
I think Mavs fans would appreciate getting to the second round. They would be super pissed at losing to the Clippers again.
I can only imagine. I don't even know if it's a lock that they would. Again, I don't know that the Clippers got a ton better. I don't know how much better they are. Right. But I expect Paul George to play better. If he doesn't, I don't think there's any chance that they're going that far. Really.
Okay.
They need him to be better.
So your conference finals is Lakers, Clippers, and who in the East?
Bucks and Nets.
Okay, mine is Nets, Bucks, and then I just went stupid Blazers, Jazz.
I think a lot of people would be excited to see it. I don't think the NBA would be happy with that series.
I mean, people love Dame Dollar and Donovan, all right?
Absolutely. No, I'd be an epic series also.
All right. So who was going first with the East?
I'll just say it. I've got the Bucks in 7. Giannis, best player.
I had the Bucks as well. I think Giannis is not to be denied. I think Drew is one of the few people that can slow Kyrie a little bit. And then if he gets switched on to Durant, can do that too. I think they just match up well defensively.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Nets have enough defense to stop them on the other side.
Agreed. All that.
And then I'll do the West. Well, we don't have the same team, so it doesn't really matter. But Blazers finally break through, get to the finals.
I'd love it. I'd love it.
Yeah, I just think they have enough versatility to deal with any type of team this year. The thing they were missing from their previous conference finals run is wings. And they went and added Derrick Jones Jr., who can play some defense. Robert Covington is going to be huge for them this year. And they still got Dame. They still got CJ. Gary Trent and Anthony Simons can both score off the bench if either of those guys are cold, so they're not as stuck, committed to those two guys having to be high every night. Last time, I think they just had Cantor in the paint. They've got Cantor, Nurkic, Collins, and Harry Giles that they can throw out there if they need to. I just think they have so much depth and versatility that they can match up with and give anybody problems on any given night. So this is the year. Blazers, Bucks, finals. Who you got making it to the finals in the West?
Got the Lakers. Got the Lakers in 6, actually. I mean, listen, I like LeBron, but I think this is actually more about AD. I think Anthony Davis. I think LeBron seems like he's just going to let Davis take the wheel, and I think he's just going to take over. It's kind of like, I think once LeBron won his first, and that just weight is off your shoulders, you can actually relax a little more, just be more yourself. I think Anthony Davis is going to have a big season. That's a little bit of a foreshadowing of some stuff to come. But yeah, I keep saying it. It sounds like I'm a Lakers homer, but I'm not. I think they got better. I think LeBron's still top 2 player. I think Anthony Davis is top 5 player. I just think they're very, very good. And I don't think as good as a lot of the other teams in the West are, as close as they are, I just think the Lakers are just a tier above everyone else.
A step above. I can respect that.
Yeah.
I can respect it a lot. Okay, so finals. I'm going to let you go first. You got Lakers, Bucks.
Lakers and Bucks. I very much wanted Giannis to get his first one, but I'm taking the Lakers winning another one, man. Like I said, I think when LeBron is your second best player,
right,
which is just based on what I'm thinking, that I'm going off of that thought. And if LeBron's the second best player and Anthony Davis is just playing out of his mind, I think they have a strong bench. I think Schroeder at the point is great. I think Wes Matthews, if he can kind of turn back the clock a little bit, I think, like you said, they locked up Kuz. Maybe he plays a little more like he did 2 years ago. Man, I just think they're a good team. I think the Bucks would definitely push him.
Do you see Giannis as one of the few people that could give AD trouble, or do you think AD is still going to make it happen against Giannis?
I think Brook Lopez is big. I think Brook Lopez defensively would give AD a lot of trouble as well. But again, I think AD, he can step out a little more, which helps him. If Giannis is playing on Davis, who's covering LeBron, Middleton's good. Drew's good. Drew could probably cover LeBron. I just think,
too much at the top for the Lakers.
Yeah, and it's really just me not wanting to do to pick against LeBron James yet. As much as I feel like I think he's going to be 36. It has to happen sometime. It does have to happen. Undefeated. It absolutely does. But they were the best team in the bubble last year.
Yeah.
They got better. I know it's like I've said it about 5 times now, but I really just think they're good. And unless anything changes during the season, the team doesn't gel that well. LeBron starts
Right.
looking old, whatever. Right now, based on what I know,
Yeah, you can only that's all you can go by. That's all you can go by. So
but I would love to see Giannis win one. I would love to see your finals as well. I'm curious who you take.
So it sounds like I also went Homer and put my 2 favorite players in the finals.
Sure.
I've done this before successfully. So, 2012, my Super Bowl pick at the beginning of the year was Ravens 49ers because those were my 2 teams. And I got it. So this is not unprecedented territory for me. Blazers Bucks in the final. Historically, people always bring up Drew Holiday locking down Dame in the playoffs a few years ago. I think that Dame has come a long way as a player since then. And he's the type of guy who would embrace the hell out of that matchup and come out there with something to prove. I think Giannis finally breaking through is going to be a little bit of a relief. And I feel like that Blazers team has enough things to throw at him to cause problems and start making that doubt seep back in there.
Yeah.
I picked the Blazers in 6 because of the depth, the versatility of that front court. Like they can put Nurk out there to cause problems in the paint. They can put Covington on Giannis full time, Gary Trent on Drew if they need to, or Middleton. Like I just think they have enough weird weapons that they can throw out and mix up and just give. Terry Stotts is a Rick Carlisle disciple. He knows how to mess with the other team and throw a zone out there every now and then to mess with them, to get into Giannis's head and just win the game with his veteran leaders for going out firing. I need Dame to break through. I feel like he's got a very tight window to get it done before Luka takes over the West. So I think this is the year they finally put it together. They stay healthy. They get it done. And then everybody can shut up about Dame forever. Giannis gets to the finals. Everybody can shut up about him not being able to win with Milwaukee. And then the following year is when things start to get interesting for Giannis. But now I'm getting ahead of myself.
Sure. Way ahead of yourself, man. All right. So that's that. Blazers. I like it. I mean, if that is the matchup, I can absolutely see it happening.
Yeah. So, yeah, the key thing here, like you said, is figuring out how LeBron gets eliminated. And I had to give it to the Jazz to be weird. I feel like they've been through enough trials and tribulations that they can get it done. Shall we hit these end of year awards?
Let's do the end of the year.
We're close to an hour and a half on time. We're not doing too bad.
All right.
I was worried. I was trying to keep it under 2.
Okay, good.
Coach of the year?
Mike Malone.
Mike Malone.
I think Mike Malone. Again, I don't think I weirdly wasn't as high as on the Nuggets as you, but I still think they're going to be very, very good.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's your alternates?
Ty Lue and Steve Nash. and that's for name recognition and just, I mean, again, is Ty Lue the second or third best coach in the league? I don't know. But, I mean, if that team looks better than they did last year,
yeah,
I think he'll get a lot of credit. Same with Steve Nash. I mean, Steve Kerr took over that Warriors team and was he the best coach in the league at the time? I don't know. But when the team outperforms, previous year.
Right, by that dramatic of a leap.
Exactly.
Somebody has to be rewarded.
Yeah. And both of those coaches are very well liked by the players, which I think goes a long way in terms of those guys playing for the coaches. So,
okay.
Yeah, who are your alts?
My alts are Nash, same reason.
Yeah.
Nets going to take a huge leap. Somebody's got to get credited for it. And Snyder, because, of course, I had the Jazz finishing, I think, as the 3. So Snyder and Nash are my alts. 6th man of the year was a little tricky. Again, Nets overperformed. Somebody's got to get rewarded. I went LeVert as my 6th man of the year.
I like that.
What you got?
I got Montrezl Harrell. And again, it just kind of goes back to this running Lakers theme.
Yeah.
he's our, I think, was he Was he the winner last year?
Yeah, he was the winner. It was
Yeah.
like him, Lou, and like Schroeder were like the big three at the
It's
top.
all those same guys, but I think he's on a great team. Seems re-energized. I think he'll just have another big year.
Okay.
My alternate, who are your alternates?
Go ahead. I was gonna tell you to do your alts.
Oh, okay. I got Danilo Gallinari. Probably not likely to happen since that team's not going to do. They're not going to be that great. But I think I just like him as a sixth man off the bench. I think he's as good as anyone coming off the bench. Again, probably not going to make it just because of how low that team will be ranked. And this next one is probably a little more of a hype pick, but I think he'll get more attention than he did last year. Tyler Harrow. Again, he's a little more beloved and probably overhyped than he maybe should be.
He has a song, so
he does have a song. Yes, happened very quickly. But again, he's going to get attention if he's even kind of close to what he was in the bubble. I think he'll have an argument for it.
Okay, my alts are a homer pick, Maxi Kleber.
Okay.
I think that if the Mavericks, I didn't pick them to be as high as they can potentially finish. I think if they finish high, he's going to be a big reason why, especially during the time when KP's either resting or the time period where he's out. He has looked like the third or so best player on the team right now. I can see him doing mid-teens in points, shooting 40% from three or so, having some big defensive games against big-time guys, and kind of just putting his name out there. I think he started to get a little bit of recognition as a defender last year. And so I think eyes are going to be on Dallas. I think if he has a strong stat line, he can make a push for that award. And then my other one was Gary Harris. I don't know if he's going to start or not, but if he ends up on the bench, somebody on that Nuggets team, basically.
Yeah, you're right, because they're going to do so many combinations.
And whoever plays starts less than half the games. Parameter.
I like that.
For the Nuggets is my other alternate.
All right.
You want to go most improved?
I'm going to go most improved. Michael Porter Jr. That Nuggets team, like you said, they're going to be so good. And a lot of this goes back to, kind of like that hero pick. I think a lot of eyes are going to be on certain guys that kind of surprised in the bubble. I think he was one of them. I think he's going to kind of take a big step like that he was probably expected to take earlier in his career. He was supposed to, I think he came out of high school as the number one overall guy. Right. He got hurt. But I think he's kind of coming back from that injury, finally going to be his best self. And I think he's gonna be a key player on one of the best teams in the league, and going from a guy last year that was he considered a rookie last year?
I think so.
Yeah. So if he's a big contributor, like a number 3 option even, which I think he's capable of being on that team, I think he'll have a.
So you made me think of something, because I know he had like a big performance in the bubble. I know that they didn't count those stats towards awards for the regular season. Or they didn't count that towards awards for the regular season. Or they might have, but I don't know if I feel like those stats are somehow kept out if they include those stats in there this year, some totals based. Hold on.
Oh, are you saying, is he going to?
His averages for last year.
I don't even know if they just are going to.
His ability to leap.
I see. But that was such a small sample size. It was a lot of it was postseason play, which doesn't.
Yeah, true.
And again, I don't know if numbers necessarily count. It's really just a lot of it, I think, can just be eye test. Yes, the numbers are going to be a big part, but he wasn't doing that for much of the season. I don't remember if he was contributing at all pre-bubble. I feel like he didn't really burst on the scene until the bubble. I didn't hear his name very much. So I think he was playing
the game versus like 15 in the bubble is going to impact things. But you're right, it was a small sample size, so it probably won't hurt him too much.
Yeah.
My most improved, similar situation, similar position, Rui Hachimora. I think that the Wizards overperforming expectations and him being a starter on that team being a huge beneficiary of Westbrook's missed layups, and just catching off of his dump offs, things like that. He looked so much stronger in the preseason game I watched of the Wizards. He was aggressive on the boards. I think he dunked on KD on one play and like got in his face. Like I didn't expect that from Rui. I'm a huge fan of his, so I'm excited to see him take a leap this year on a playoff team.
Okay.
And then my alternates are Kobe White, because I think he's going to get mad buckets in Chicago, whether or not they win. I think the buckets are going to be gotten. And then Lou Dort, Oklahoma City Thunder. Again, I think they're going to be straight buns. But I think he, like you said, made some noise in the bubble. And I think he's going to start on that OKC team, and somebody has to score points.
So I went Gilgeous-Alexander, actually. I mean, okay. I know he had a good season, but he is the clear-cut number one guy there right now. So I think he can put up big numbers. I don't know if they necessarily, win majority of their games, but I think if he's the best player, I think he's going to put up some big stat lines because someone's got to score. Lonzo Ball, it's kind of more of a hope pick. I like Lonzo. I think he could very easily be like the number 3 option there, and make a really big, like a really good young core with him and Zion and Brandon Ingram. Whether or not he does it, he needs to be more aggressive. He needs to be more confident. I think he can do it. We'll see if he does or not. I'm just trying to think of any other guys. I mean, I liked your Kobe White pick. I definitely think Kobe White's a guy that could definitely make a big leap. A name came to my mind a second ago as you were talking, but I can't remember who it was.
As I was talking about who?
I can't remember. I think it was right before you said Rui. But I mean, that's another thing that's just so exciting that there's gonna like Devontae last year. I didn't expect Devontae to be anywhere near what he was. Some guys just gonna make that surprise leap. Bam being an all-star. So it'll just be exciting to see who that guy is that kind of breaks out.
Okay. Yeah. I went first on most improved, didn't I? Or did you?
You did.
Okay, so rookie. What you got?
I'm giving it to LaMelo. I know that definitely feels like a home pick, but I just think he's got the star power, and I think he's going to put up some big assist numbers. It's a scoring that's going to be interesting. Like, I think he's going to get a lot of rebounds. I think he's going to get a lot of assists. If his scoring just improves over the course of the season, I mean, I think he's the type of guy that people are going to be paying a lot of attention to.
Yeah.
And I think if we look better than we did last year, he'll get much of the credit, deservedly, probably.
I think I predicted he'll have an MCW type rookie year.
Which,
maybe not as big of numbers, but similar stat line.
I just hope he does not immediately disappear after his rookie year like MCW.
Another guy that I expect to have a similar stat line and who I know is going to have a bigger role probably on his team earlier in the season is Denny Avdia, who I have as my rookie of the year. Again, a lot of attention in Washington because I expect them to overperform expectations. They're talking about him potentially starting on that lineup. So again, I think he's going to be a Swiss Army knife type guy out there with Westbrook and Beal. That's assist city with shooters as well. He hustles, he gets rebounds, and he can run the floor and score. So I expect him to fill up a stat sheet and have a surprising breakout season that is going to get a lot of people's attention.
I like that.
You want my alts, or you going to give yours first?
I'll give my alts. I've got Bobo, obviously. I mean, I think we've talked about we've talked about the Nuggets a lot, but I mean, look, he's going to get a lot of playing time.
Yeah.
He's super versatile, crazy versatile. And I like Devin Vassell, I think, on San Antonio. And Cole Anthony is another guy I think could make a run. Again, him being less of him not being a starter probably might hurt him for rookie of the year. Like I said, I think he can make an all rookie team. But I think if he gets enough playing time, I think he can definitely surprise people.
Yeah, that's definitely the not starting part is what held Cole Anthony back for me as well. And it also held LaMelo back. I still kept LaMelo as one of my alts, Rozier was balling in the preseason, but I don't know how long that's going to last. I don't know if they're going to look to move him to get LaMelo into that starting lineup or what.
I think Rozier makes more sense coming off the bench. I think he's a better shooter than LaMelo.
Right.
I think if you start him and Graham when those guys are off the court, I think you're missing a little bit of shooting.
Exactly.
I feel like LaMelo will be starting sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it's just a matter of having that conversation like, hey, you can impact the game more. If you come off the bench, you'll still play the same minutes. We're just kind of helping mix up the minutes. So LaMelo is one of my alts, and then Wiseman is my other, just because I expect him to start on that Warriors team and be the beneficiary of a lot of putbacks and lobs.
Yeah,
and just put up really big numbers.
He's in the perfect position for a guy like him. I mean, he should have a great season.
He's zero effort, doubles.
He shouldn't need to force anything. Just play his game.
Yeah,
and I think that team covers a lot of his weaknesses. Really, it's kind of perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. What do we got? Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah.
Is it me first?
You first.
Yeah. All right. This was tough. I'm giving it to Giannis again.
Okay.
It was a toss up for me. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Toss up between Giannis and Gobert. With the Jazz finishing as high as they are, I considered leaning Gobert, but I'm giving it to Giannis.
Okay. I went Gobert. I think it's pretty much always Gobert's to lose.
Okay.
I think things are a little more positive in Utah this year. So I do think he has a really big season. I think he's going to take it. And then in my alts, I've got Giannis and I've got AD. Both guys, I think. The thing about Giannis is that maybe Drew, because I think Drew Holiday is such an elite defender, right. Maybe that takes some of the I don't know if it's pressure or what off of Giannis. Maybe he doesn't have to do as much.
He doesn't have to do as much.
Yeah. I mean, it's that. I still think he's just such a force. I mean, he can defend 5 positions. I still think he'll get a lot of recognition. But yeah, I just think Gobert is going to edge him out. So
my other alternate besides Gobert, obviously, was Drew Holiday. Pretty much the same reasons. I think if a lot of that pressure, like you said, is taken off of Giannis, and that team defense comes up in any sort of way, that's going to be credited to Drew. Them being a top team, again, they're going to want to credit Drew. I think he at least makes an all-defense team for somehow, I think, first time, if I'm not mistaken, maybe second. But he's been overlooked. Wow. He's been overlooked. I'll look it up just to verify, because I don't like putting out false information. But I feel like he just gets completely disrespected and as far as that goes. Like, people know he's one of the best defenders, but I don't think he gets the recognition. Let me look it up real quick, though. Drew Holiday, boom. He's got 2 off-defense awards.
Okay. Yeah, he's got a first and a second.
When he probably should have like 7.
For sure.
All right, so that's that. Ran through that pretty quickly. Are we down to MVP?
We're down to the big one.
What you got? I feel like you already teased it, but go ahead.
I think I did tease it, and I almost picked him for Defensive Player of the Year too. He was one of my alts. I'm picking. I think Anthony Davis has his breakout season. Like, I almost put him as an alternate for Most Improved Player.
Okay.
Probably it's silly to say, but I think the weight of having that championship off his shoulders is going to help him play a little more at ease. I think you got LeBron as your co-star, and you almost get to be the main guy. I think he looked great in the bubble. I think he's just going to take over this team. I think it's going to be his team. I really think he is going to have like a monster year, which he's always been capable of. Like, he's always been like, he was kind of the Giannis before Giannis came on the scene. Like, I mean, he can do everything. He can basically guard 5 positions. I mean, he's, he can hit big shots from outside. He hit some, a game winner in the bubble. And like I said, the big thing is, I think he's won the championship now, that just having that edge, not something that's like constantly weighing on him. The key will be like whether now, those guys, himself included, take it a little too easy and just enjoy being champions. But I think with LeBron on that team, I don't think anyone's slacking off. I think they're all going to be pushed. I think he's a guy that's going to want another one. So yeah, I mean, I think Anthony Davis is going to have a big season, and it's going to be surprising if he ends up being the MVP with LeBron on his team. I just think you have to have a crazy type year for that to happen. But I think it will.
Okay. Well, my MVP is based on my standings. Nuggets, again, were the surprise number 1 seed. I gave him alone coach of the year. I also think Jokic can get the MVP.
I like that.
Even if his numbers aren't as sexy as they have been in the past, I think that he's going to be credited with a lot of what they do. And he's not going to be splitting votes with Murray. I don't think Murray is good enough to garner that kind of attention. People are going to want to reward the Nuggets for getting that 1 seed. So Jokic, I think he finished second or third like a few years ago as well. So him getting back to the top as far as that goes makes sense to me. My alternates were Durant and AD. Basically the best players on the 2 seeds in the other teams. Giannis, I feel like, is not going to get the votes of years past because people are tired of watching him bow out early in the playoffs, no matter how dominant he looks in the regular season. So I think Giannis, I took him completely off the board, and think it's going to go to, again, wanting to reward either Jokic for taking a team to the mountaintop, Durant for being a comeback guy when this is going to be really the only award they can give him, and then AD for, again, getting to the mountaintop, getting that ring, and then coming back and having another strong season. So,
yeah, I mean, I think it is a regular season award, so I think Giannis is still going to be in the conversation. And actually, I think Luka is going to be in the conversation as well.
Yeah, a lot of it in the conversation for sure.
But I've got Giannis and Luka as my alts. I just think I think a lot of the preseason hype is going to help have that conversation, get that conversation started. And I think both of them are going to be on winning teams. But like I said, the Mavericks, I kind of had them more middle of the pack, but I still just think Luka's overall play is going to look. I think his stat line is going to look as good as anyone else's. I don't think he's going to win it this year just because I don't think his team's going to be. I just don't think the Mavs are even going to be a top 4 team in the West.
Right.
If they are, I think that helps his chances even more. But yeah, I still think Giannis could very easily get 3 in a row.
I think those are the easy 5. Do you agree?
Yeah, for sure. Or
KD, do you think maybe Kawhi in there, or?
I'd probably put Kawhi over KD. If KD is healthy and he plays like KD all season, I mean, he might win the MVP. I don't know. It's so hard to know what he's going to look like.
I respect that.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate, but I mean, look, he's the best. He's probably the best player in the East if he's at his best. I'd pick him over Giannis, honestly, just because I think he's just a better shooter. But it's close. But yeah, I think those are kind of your main guys you're gonna see in that conversation.
Respect.
I like the Jokic pick though. Would he be the first center since Shaq to win MVP? Right, I'm not forgetting.
I consider Giannis a center, but I wouldn't say he's a center.
I consider Giannis a point guard. Is he a center?
I think he got votes at like every position in who's the best at this position.
I mean, he can basically play any position, I guess. But that's interesting.
Nobody knows what he is, but yeah, I think he probably would.
He'd be the first traditional center.
The Tim Duncan. Some people consider Duncan a center.
I think Duncan's a forward. I think Duncan's a 4.
I think he played most of his career at center, but I don't know what he was playing at that time.
No, Duncan played the 4. What? Are you serious? Was he a center?
Look at Basketball Reference. No, I was kidding.
Because they had Tiago Splitter, I thought, at center for a while.
Yeah, true.
Who else did they have? I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that one. But anyways, I do think Jokic should be the first type of player like him to win the MVP.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it's doable.
It would be huge. Yeah, it would be huge. But he's a different beast. I think that's what helps him.
For sure.
So I think that pretty much covers the predictions. I do have another question for you. I don't think I sent you this ahead of time. What is your biggest hope for this season?
Biggest hope, I mean, I think from a personal standpoint, it's just for the Hornets to be competitive. I'm kind of torn between wanting them to tank a little bit so we can get just like one more of these really good guys. But at the same time, man, I just want to see them. I want to see them be competitive. It's been a very long time.
Yeah.
So other than that, I really just want to see guys stay healthy throughout the year. Like it's going to be really frustrating to see big name after big name on the DNP list because they were out with COVID. So, man, as long as guys just stay healthy and like the level of basketball is similar to what it was in the bubble, which I thought was fantastic. Like there was a lot. There were so many good games, good matchups, good series in the playoffs. Just if we get to see guys like play the majority of the season. I mean, injuries are going to happen, but as long as it's not this virus that takes them out, I'll be happy.
Okay. Yeah, I think for me, it's pretty much the same to basically just get to the end of the season, not have to go through another lockdown. And again, have guys, like you said, get through the season healthy. I want to see John Wall finish the season. I want to see Porzingis get through the season. I can't stand, it's like really painful, like as a fan of the game to watch the most talented people go down with injuries. Like even Steph last year, like I was super looking forward to seeing Steph like have to put a team on his back for the season and then to have him go out like within the first couple of weeks. Obviously he could have come back, but there was really no point at that point. But yeah, that was just a disappointment. So there's, like we said at the beginning, we're excited about seeing all these new faces in new places. So it would suck to be robbed of any of those experiences. Next thing I have to ask you, Mavs Hornets, December 30th. Viewing party, what you want to do?
You want to travel to Raleigh? You want to sit 6 feet across from me in my living room? We'll set you up in the guest room.
You got me thinking, like, is that a thing I could do? No, that might be too long. I think I work that day. So.
Oh, what day of the week is that?
I think it's a Wednesday.
I mean, we could set up some sort of stream and watch it together.
Do a video and talk trash? All right.
I'll do that, man. Maybe we can get some 2K in that night too or something. We gotta play. But yeah, I'm gonna need to watch that game. Actually, you know what? I just realized I'm not gonna be able to watch that game. I can't watch it.
We'll talk off cam about watching.
I got you. Yeah, if you got some backdoor channels, you can get me watch that game.
Fez is listening.
Yeah, but man, just games like that, matchups like that, gonna be fun to see. I am pumped for this season. It's nice to get it starting so soon. Help bring in the new year. I know it's gonna be good, man. It's gonna give you a lot more stuff to talk. Keeps your podcast rolling pretty nicely.
I should probably take a day off here at some point, but I can sleep when I'm dead. What is that? Is that what people say? I don't know.
I think they do. I don't think you sleep anyways, frankly.
No. I was hoping these powers kicked in and I got the ability to not have to sleep. Yeah. But that didn't happen. The last thing I have to ask you, I forgot to ask you this earlier. What are your thoughts on Gordon Hayward? Like, is he going to be what helps keep the Hornets competitive, or are you just expecting it to be a cumulative team effort situation?
Yeah, I mean, if he can just stay healthy. Again, it goes back to health. His health issues are.
Are you mad about this pinky thing?
Yeah, man, this dude he's made of peanut brittle, man. He's just so. And like, I'm not even mad at. I mean, he can't help. It's just they're all like weird little injuries. I feel bad for him really because I like Gordon Hayward a lot, and I think if he's healthy, I think he could probably be our best scorer, honestly. And again, he's just another one of those guys that would contribute, or I'm sorry, not contribute. I think he would benefit from LaMelo a lot. I think that floor is very spaced out. And I think he probably would be our number one option, number two option with Devontae. Right.
Ooh.
What?
I like that. That feels like a hot take right there.
You don't think?
I mean, just scoring option or just as the guy on the face of the team?
Oh, no. Scoring option.
Okay.
Listen, Devontae to me is the face of the team. LaMelo is basically the face of the team in about a day. I mean, as soon as this season gets going, I think he is.
Okay.
Scoring option. I just don't, like Miles Bridges isn't necessarily creating his own shot right now. LaMelo scoring just looks, I mean, it's not quite there.
He's going to be 10, 11-ish.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of it's going to have to be driving and, getting to the bucket. I don't know what his outside shot's like right now. He had a couple threes in the preseason. I mean, it's not the prettiest shot, but, I
think Graham and Gordo can both do 20.
Exactly. Score. So yes, very much just scoring option. I think he's the number one guy, but no, probably not base of the team, but he's just got to stay healthy, man. It's his body is what it is, but like, hopefully he can just stay on.
We've gotten off on track a little bit, but I will say the Gordon Hayward injury situation with how Miles Bridges has been playing in the preseason, I think that's long-term going to benefit you guys. Especially, I know they have Hayward listed as day-to-day. So if he doesn't start like those first couple of games and Bridges has to, I think that's going to be huge for his confidence. I saw the other night he had like a 15 rebound game, which is, I think, very interesting because they can play him at the 3 or 4. Yeah. And he just looks like like you said, a more comfortable, more confident guy who's not pressing anymore.
It's going to be really frustrating if he decides to have a breakout year after we just signed Hayward to that massive contract.
It's following the course. Like, same thing. Let me make sure we get a guard back in this Kemba deal. And then Graham just dominates. And it's like, well, we don't really need this Rozier guy anymore, but here we are. It's good problems to have, in my opinion.
I agree. And it's going to be fun. I think, look, as we were going down the standings, every team kind of has something to be excited about this year. I really just don't think there's any trash team this year, man.
Right.
I would watch any of these 30 teams play.
Even the worst teams have young, exciting players. And that's what I think is that's how the league is supposed to work. It's
getting a little more diverse in terms of talent, spread out a little bit more.
Right.
There are a lot of teams that could compete for the title this year. It makes getting the league pass worth it. You can watch all, I think every game's got something interesting going on.
I kept you hostage, and I'm going to keep you hostage for one last question, and I'm going to let you go.
Let's hear it.
There's been some talk about expanding the league. How do you feel about 2 expansion teams? Do you think there's enough talent out there?
Yes, without question, man. Like, I think it's time to get rid of that one and done rule in college. So a lot of these high school, guys can come straight out of high school. I think there's markets that, like Seattle needs a team. I think Vancouver. I think you want to talk about going international. I think getting another
Mexico
Canadian team. Mexico City. Montreal. I don't know. If how big that market is, but there's cities options in the north. In terms of the talent level, yes, I absolutely think there's talent out there. I mean, you just there are a lot of guys just that aren't in the league right now that
Isaiah Thomas is, if he's healthy, like he claims.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then do you follow the G League Instagram?
No.
Follow the G League Instagram. They've been posting clips of this Ignite team with all the kids straight out of high school. Jalen Green looks ridiculous. Him and
Kuminga, holy cow, man.
They look like they can play right now. Like
they can play right now. That's what I'm saying. Like, there is talent. Isaiah Todd on that team as well.
Yeah.
Dude, look at some of those guys like Cade Cunningham and what is he on Oklahoma State? Man, like you could field a competitive NBA team with just guys in the college and the G League right now.
Yeah, and unsigned guys. Like, you can put together a team that's as good as the worst teams in the East or West right now.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and I think there's just more
that are overseas in Europe. There's guys in Europe that don't have to be in Europe. They're just there because they don't want to be on the end of a bench somewhere necessarily.
Exactly. I mean, those Spanish leagues. I mean, there are a lot of good players globally. I think expansion is definitely
overdue.
Overdue for sure.
All right, Josh, I appreciate you hanging in there with me. I had a lot of fun doing this. We'll come back at the end of the season, see how bad it was.
Yeah, man. I hope this is good content. I mean, I just had fun talking with you. I don't know how it'll how it'll turn out on the podcast. But I mean, it's fun to speculate and just to kind of forecast the season. I'm excited for it. I'm sure everyone that's like NBA fan is just really anxious and excited. So, but thank you for having me back on, man. This is
no
awesome.
problem. Yeah, I think at some point I forgot we were doing a podcast, and I forgot to keep track of the time. But for those of you who hung in there, hey, y'all said y'all wanted the long content. My 2 most listened to episodes are those super long Meet the Podcaster episodes. So I guess y'all told the truth. So I hope you enjoyed this season preview. It's time for basketball, man. I'm excited. Mavs can go all the way. Hornets might be a sneaky team sneaked into that 10th spot. You never know. Basketball is back, and I'll be here with you guys after every Mavs game to recap it. I hope you'll keep it locked. Check out the Bibs Film account. I separated the two. You won't be hearing any movie reviews on this account anymore. Go follow Bibs Film on Twitter and on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Wherever you're listening right now, search Bibs Film. Follow that account. And, of course, if you're not watching on YouTube right now, go to YouTube, subscribe to the Bibs Corner YouTube account. Just started it up. I need to get those subscribers up. I don't care if you watch the videos at all. Just hit that subscribe button. You never have to look at it again. Turn off the alerts, all that. Just hit that button for a player. And that's it, man. I'm going to stop talking. I ramble. Peace. See you guys next time.